Hello and welcome to Edukemy's YouTube channel. In this video, we shall understand the feature news for today, that is 28th of January 2022. Today's feature news is on European Union's global gateway. In this regard, we will understand what is the context in which European Union declared the formation of a global gateway. What are the previous projects of the similar kind that have been running around in the whole world, and what is India's initiative, what is India's participation in this project, right? Before we discuss this, I would like to share with you people the inputs that you yourself have provided on the question that I asked. The question was, mention 5 advantages, keywords and examples of having an inclusive infrastructure regime in the world. Inclusive infrastructure regime. Now, Global Gateway is one of the regiments in which we are trying to institutionalize infrastructure regime for the whole world, for European Union to begin with, and for the whole world later on. It will have certain minimum standards for ensuring that climate change is adhered to, targets are adhered to, that there is a green capacity development, that there is a transparency in funding, that human rights are well conserved and reserved, right? So this is a holistic project in its own way. If we compare this with other projects, for example, Build Back Better World, and then we have China's BRI and other projects. What is their declaration? What is their declaration? So when the question was 5 advantages of having an inclusive infrastructure regime in the world, these could be the points, right? Inclusive. They become more inclusive if human rights are followed, if climate change is adhered to, green development, transparency, they are adhered to, right? So what you people have answered is on the right lines: poverty reduction, expansion of trade, inclusive growth. These are good points, right? You've also mentioned LDCs, preventing hegemony by a particular country, bridging gap. Good. And then when I asked for some specific examples, you have provided accurate examples. Thank you, Hima. Build Back Better, Built and Road Initiative. In New India at 75, India has Sagar, security and growth of all in the region, right? Similarly, Japan has some projects. So I admire the points and specific examples that you have mentioned, right? So Ashish, Babani, good. Pooja, very good. Slowly, steadily keep on capturing what the other person is mentioning so that it becomes your own language. All right, we become what we consume, right? Netra, thank you for providing these beautiful examples. Vietnam urban upgradation project, right? India is also participation in high impact projects in Vietnam, right? Cameroon inclusive resilient cities development project, right? So this example can also become a case for you, provided you know 2 or 3 pointers for Cameroon. All right. So great. We also have a question from Himas. Can we call Gwadar port development as a failure or Hambantota as failure? We will discuss this. All right. So let's start this conversation. And Amlan has a question. Sir, how the developed countries compensate to island nations for industrial revolution, because always there is climate change and sea level rise. All right. Interesting question. Developed countries have to be compensating for this. They have agreed to compensate, but in monetary terms, they have hardly provided any finances. They have provided some finances to countries in Africa. They have provided it to South Africa. They provided it to some island nations, but largely no. India has also demanded for finances. Lakshadweep also and Andaman also will be underwater in a few years. And this is all because of the traditional expenditures of energy and consumption in the last 200 years, which has led to this. But are they providing us $100 trillion, $1 trillion right now? They are not, right? So good question that you have raised, but this is to be raised at the international fora. मेरे पास तो उतने पैसे नहीं है. I don't have that much money, but developed countries definitely should be providing. See, on one hand, developed countries want us to reduce our consumption base, traditional fuel base, right, production base of the conventional energy sources. But on the other hand, they are not even ready to pay for transition. Transition through what? Transition through better technology, transition through better finances, transition through better human resources. They will have to help us, no? They will have to teach us this. They will have to give us the technology. They'll have to provide finances. If they are not doing this, how are they demanding for us to cut the conventional energy production? If we do that, how will India survive? How will a country like China survive, right? We have a lot of people to feed, and that can only happen through conventional energy, because we do not have the efficient mechanisms for cleaner energy. These are not efficient right now. We have to import wind turbines, we have to import the solar panels, right? We do not have capacity, efficient capacity for geothermal right now and many other sources, these smaller water resources, right? All right. So let's begin with this conversation on EU's global gateway, right? Before that, let me show you a quick map of the whole world, and we will understand through this map what happens around the whole world. See, here, this is the map of the world, and you see, this is a traditional map, not to be looked at. See, why do we not look at a map like this is because, you see, have a look at how India has been reflected here. Punjab is a country, they say, and India is a different part of it. You know, instead of having people raise objections on us, let us quickly switch to a better map of India. All right. So very, very sensitive issue for many people. All right. To us as well. Now, in this map of the whole world, you see, China is a country here. So is USA a country here. And then we have European Union, say this particular region. These are dominant players in the world market. And then we have ASEAN as well. Why do I say so? We have Japan as well. Why do I say so? Look at the kind of trade these countries do with each other. China with European Union is well more than $700 billion. This trade. China with South Asian ASEAN nations is well over $800 billion. And with USA well over $700 billion. This is the kind of trade they do. China with India is hardly touched. Yes, it is going great, but it has hardly touched $125 billion this year. $125 billion, which is a big, remarkable jump, I must say. But then again, this is meager as compared to the $800 million and $800 billion and $700 billion, right? Is it not? China and USA are the largest partners of trade with India. And these countries are able to spend so much. If they are able to spend so much in trading with these countries, imagine the kind of influence they would have on the regional infrastructure, right? So when they're able to trade, when China is able to trade so much with European countries, it is because it has established a rapport with them, the product rapport or the diversity of market, the quality market. Yes, it has. That is why this level of trade. And for this, it requires infrastructure projects along the sea routes, along the land routes. It requires better relationships with countries. And not only China, USA had this hegemony previously. And before that, Europe had this hegemony. The 19th century belonged to Europe. The 20th century belonged to USA. And the 21st century belongs to Beijing and Mumbai, Delhi. So 21st century. The point being that all these countries want to increase their influence with the other countries, right? Similarly, for the same reason, for example, China has a pact with the ASEAN economies. It uses trade. It uses trade as a weapon to ensure that it advantages those countries which are in its favor and disfavor or put those countries at disadvantage which are not in its in agreement with it. So China has an agreement called as 17+1, right? 17+1 with European countries. And one of the countries which quit this agreement, Lithuania, we had discussed the case of Lithuania, why it exited, because it recognized Taiwan in letter and in spirit. So lately what has happened is that China has raised sanctions against Lithuania, trade sanctions. And European Union has taken this to World Trade Organization. It is just today's news. It has taken China to World Trade Organization. How can you sanction only one country on the basis of your political affiliations, right? World Trade Organization is about increasing trade. In this regard and many such regards, this is a diplomatic and political tussle, but in many such regards, all these nations have started to form their own infrastructure development projects. Now, China declared BRI, Belt and Road Initiative, in 2013. Japan similarly initiated its own project. India has something called as Sagar, Security and Growth of all in the region, right? Indian Ocean region and the space around it. Similarly, Japan and India run a project for the whole Asia-Africa development project. Similarly, USA and along with the other G7 nations, USA included, they have spoken of Build Back Better World. Now, EU also started its project called as European Union's Global Gateway, right? Each of them, not that B3W, Build Back Better World, does not have European Union. It does have four major parts of European Union as well, right? Four major parts of European Union, Canada, and then we have Japan there. But this is an exclusive project by European Union in which the countries want to integrate themselves far better than right now, and they want to integrate with the whole world, right? Now, these are why has European Union declared this project? You would want to know the context of this. See, context is why should we depend on China's infrastructure projects? If China is developing these projects, China will be providing loans to those countries. China will have greater influence on Central Asian region or the maritime influence region. Why should China be influencing our maritime region more than what we can influence? And this is the reason India started its project. This is the reason European Union has started its project, and so has US, and so has Japan and other countries. Now, although the funding capacity of China is far more, yet their model is not as advanced as other models. So when Amlad asked the question, is it a replacement of, is Global Gateway a replacement of BRI? So the answer is, we must look at the kind of models that exist at BRI and what is there with Global Gateway. Does BRI talk only about instituting the infrastructure projects at places and increasing repo or providing loans, or does it also talk about human rights at all the places? Does it also speak of controlling the climate change? Does it speaking of greening of the energy resources here or not? BRI is primitive in that regard, but European Union's Global Gateway is more progressive. And why does Global Gateway does not contain USA in its agenda? For example, Build Back Better World. It is primarily because there are some tussles between European Union and USA as well, right? The way USA exited suddenly from Afghanistan, it was European Union and the whole world was not aware of it, right? There are increasing factions inside European Union itself, right? Germany, we have mentioned Germany and Ukraine being one. Now, Germany is a major influencer in European Union's economy. It would want better integration for better trade, better rapport, better relations, better diplomacy. But it would want the infrastructure to be developed by European countries only. So this is the reason that each of them have instituted their own project, Global Gateway, by European Union. And this was very much in news because last year, December month, it was declared by European Union. This is going to compete with China's BRI. But what is the level of investment that they carry? What is the kind of commitment in the coming years that they will carry? This will be something that has to be checked, because China's expansion is aggressive. In the last 8-9 years, they've expanded through maritime linkages, through road linkages towards the Central Asian region as well, right? As far as Central Asian region. So when European Union declared this project, we already had projects which were established around the world. And one of the most popular was China's BRI project, right? So they are going to spend as much as $1 trillion to even $7 to $8 trillion in the coming times. Does European Union have that kind of funding? This is some question, because China is actually leading the way, right? So what are the alternatives? We have had Japan, speaking of expanded partnership for quality infrastructure, EPQI, India's security and growth of all in the region, Sagar, right? Blue Dot network of USA, right? And then we also had Quad. The primary difference between Quad and AUKUS is that AUKUS is a military alliance of 3 nations. Quad is a geostrategic alliance. They not only speak of military alliance, they also speak of exchanging modes of energy infrastructure, cleaner modes of energy development, strategies, defense, right? A lot of other things also a part of Quad. So this is not a military alliance, Quad, but AUKUS definitely is a defense alliance, right? So Quad is another project under which they are trying to have an alternative to China in infrastructure also, right? Similarly, G7's Build Back Better World. This is another initiative. They want this, they must integrate with each other, right? What about the other? UK's Clean Grid Initiative and EU's Global Gateway. See, there's so many projects by the countries which foresee future, right? Now, point I'm making to the question that was asked is it a replacement to the other? No, that must not be the way we should look at it. China is not enemy. They are also trying to grow. No, they are just that they are far more advanced than us. They are doing better because of their economy. They are doing because they are working hard, because of their policies. Yes, so what that they are dictatorial. So what that they have one one party system, right? So what, there is less transparency, but still they are growing far ahead. So why should we treat their model, a newer model, as a replacement to them? We can use, since India has Sagar, but Sagar doesn't have funding. No, China has funding, European Union has funding, Build Back Better World has funding. So we must collaborate with all of them. I mean, this should be the vision for each of us. So adopt 3 C's: collaborate, cooperate, compete as much as possible. However, not feel subjugated. See, balance ho gaya na? This is balanced. So we will not go against countries, right? But yes, we will go against the Chinese BRI if it is crossing Indian boundaries in Ladakh. We will mention that if you are creating a pathway from here to Gwadar, this is something we will completely oppose. India opposes this. Do you know, lately China has also agreed to ensure that the route that they create, they will divert that also. They have agreed to that also. So point being that there must be somebody at the level of statesman, not politician, statesman, who should look at how these projects actually pan out. So we should be able to cooperate. If not cooperate, fine, we will collaborate. We should also be able to compete so that we provide better services. Each of them want their influence and their gain. So does India. So we will collaborate with each of them. This is one question. Another question that you had posed was whether should we speak Gwadar as a failed project or another project that you mentioned, Hambandota, as a failed project or not. See, it is a failed project for those recipients, but for the influencer, for a country like China, it is not, right? They have gained access for a lot of times to come. So it totally depends on the perspective that you look at from, right? And in this regard, let us quickly understand what is specific about EU's Global Gateway. See, this beautiful article mentions that EU Global Gateway has got 6 components, which others, specifically BRI, might not have. Just note this down. You will be able to put this everywhere else also, in other infrastructure projects also. So hard and soft infrastructure across digital, climate, energy, transport, health, education, research sectors, right? And the 6 pillars. So what are we talking of? 2 kinds of infrastructure: hard and soft infrastructure for transport, climate, energy, digital, health, education, research, a lot of them. But they're based on 6 pillars. They are: 1, democracy and high standards; good governance, this is number 2. The third one is equal partnership; 4th, green and clean; 5, security; and 6 is private sector participation. Does all this get offered with China's BRI? Even if it does, even if China changes its model, it is not declared. It is not declared in this regard, right? So the principle on which EU is founding this EU Global Gateway, this is far more broader. This is far more contemporary, equality based, transparency based. Look at this equal partnership, right? Was this the one when China funded projects in Myanmar or in Malaysia, Thailand, or countries in Africa or Sri Lanka, Pakistan? Equal partnership? No. I mentioned this clearly, how China's model is working, how India's model and Japan's model works. Their model is to collaborate and cooperate and participate. China's model is to set up an institution to extract resources, right? So quite a bit of difference between how we operate and how they operate. And now EU has come ahead with a far more wider definition of how the project should get carried, right? So these 6 points become your key points also, not only for infrastructure projects. Put it for any ideal project. No, these 6 points, right? So I think you are able to understand what I am saying, right? All right. So this is the primary difference between the Global Gateway and BRI, right? The standards are different. Higher standards for Global Gateway. There is more transparency. Nature of funding is such that private sector also gets incorporated. China largely funds these projects as a loan, and once you are not able to repay it back, then is when China starts to have those pacts where we will administer this. It will be on a lease for 99 years. Example. Now, whereas what EU does is it says that fine, our private sector will participate and it will establish its project there. So it will carry it out by itself. It will participate by sharing the profits, right? So complete dependence will not be on the host country. It will also be on the private sector which is participating, right? So this is a more modern version of BRI, right? We will collaborate with each of them as and when they reach us, all right, provided it is in our country's interest. Now China has a major funding initiative. It can overpower many other countries. So this is the reason that China is ahead of many other projects, and this is the reason that we will also equally participate with them, right? Now the reason why this particular project is will get more of heirs is because of one, there are times when EU's stakeholders are also not happy with each other. So we had AUKUS agreement, and France very categorically mentioned that it is not happy with the way the deal with France was cancelled. The deal for obtaining the submarines from France by Australia was cancelled. The deal was later signed with America with the help of UK, right? So France was not happy. It mentioned this. This is one issue, and the other issue is with mistrust with USA, right? Several countries like Germany have mistrust with USA, and the way America withdrew its armed forces from Afghanistan without informing EU's, NATO's forces, and the issue with Russia. EU is not happy about why Russia is speaking to USA on the issues that deal with the European Union, Ukraine, or Belarus. So these are the issues because of which EU needs to be integrated first. This is the project which will integrate EU better first, digital and hard infrastructure in EU countries, and after that it will expand the project around the whole world. So this is the reason that this project will rebuild transatlantic ties with USA. It will also build intra-EU ties inside Europe itself, right? So important project in that way. What about India? Yes. In case BRI is not effective for India, in case India is not willing to participate because of the strategic concerns, right, and because of how the BRI is treating India's own borders, so then we will also factor in with the EU relations. India-EU relations will get widened. EU is not a small trading partner for India as well, right? This decent amount of around $80 billion of trade is carried out with EU, with China, with EU, with USA. We have a decent amount of trade with these three countries, right? So point being that India must collaborate with EU as well, right? So if you can remember the Ashgabat agreement, do you remember this? Have you heard of Ashgabat agreement? Ashgabat agreement. Now this particular agreement is on the north-south corridor, the formation of a north-south corridor through which there will be transportation from India, from the Indian Ocean region completely to Europe. So this agreement can get boost from European Union, right? India will have better access. So these are the examples that can be used while you speak of India's convergence, right? So global gateways convergence with India, the possible areas of synergy. You can present all these six avenues, the six avenues that we spoke of: governance, clean energy, right? We spoke of various other parameters. So all of them, you start looking at where India is lacking, you will be able to help. So those six are the key pointers for you, right? Through that, you will be able to build your answers. Look at the supply chain resilience initiative. We are talking of the Quad supply chain resilience initiative, right? So do we not have countries which can help Quad? Yes, EU can, right? EU-India connectivity partnership. So these are the things which can help India-EU become better with each other, along with the other initiatives, probably collaborating with China or not collaborating with China, right? We also have projects, right? For example, the India-Japan platform for Afro-Asian cooperation, right? So EU can also participate here along with India and Japan, right? So this will reduce the dependency that India has with China very naturally, right? And this will also increase our defense security engagements. It will increase the equality of treatment that we give to other people. This will lead to a sustainable blue economy. We have covered a feature on Deep Ocean Mission, DOM. Now, Deep Ocean Mission is a subset of SAGAR, security and growth of all, in the Indian Ocean region, right? So Deep Ocean Mission also has got 6 components. This is a feature news we covered. This is we have 6 segments in deep ocean mission, and all of them we require cooperation from developed countries. You can definitely participate here, right? So this is how we will be able to garner the support of European Union and be able to help India's growth, right? So what did we study here in Global Gateway? Firstly, we understood what are the 6 principles of Gateway. We also understood the comparison of Global Gateway with the Chinese BRI. We understood what are the variety of infrastructure project development happening around the world. Japan's, India's, China's, European Union's, USA's, right? Blue Dot Network, and then G7 economy. So many of them, but then are they collaborating, cooperating? Right now, no. But is there an intention? Yes, absolutely. We also understood what are the challenges on the way, the kind of funding. See, the opportunities are the challenges looked from the other side, and the challenges are the opportunity looked from the other side. So when we look at disintegration of USA, disintegration of Europe, that is a challenge. But reintegration of Europe is an opportunity. So whatever we spoke as an opportunity, it can also become a challenge, right? Relations with USA is a challenge for European Union. Competition with China is a challenge for European Union. But you can present all of them in the positive light as well, right? Opportunities for the future, right? And India specific initiatives, is it going to help or not? Yes, it is definitely going to help a country like India, right? So this is what about the European Union's Global Gateway, right? If I ask you a question, how is Global Gateway better than BRI? Would the Global Gateway initiative help EU to reconfigure its role in the changing world order? Right? So will you be able to answer a question like this? Will you be? Please reply to me. How is Global Gateway better than BRI? The comparison between it and how it is better. We will not say it is better in the first go. We will compare them and then we will reach to a conclusion. This is first part. The second part of the question is, would this initiative help EU to reconfigure its role in changing world order? Reconfigure its relationship in the changing world order? Absolutely. So look at these challenges inside intra-EU, relationship with the East European countries, relationship with Russia and USA, with countries like India, Japan, and then you will be able to formulate an answer. Absolutely. So this is how we have covered another beautiful topic here. I'd like you to read this feature news once so that you get a great insight to it and be able to draw a map. If you do so, you will be in a far better position to gauge what the exam and question wants. All right. So let me see if there are questions here. China's checkbook diplomacy. Yes, Ashish, thank you. So checkbook diplomacy, there are 2 words that are very relevant in these days. I am amazed with the kind of keywords you have started to use. Thank you very much. Checkbook diplomacy. And there's another one called as wolf warrior diplomacy, both in context of China. Thank you very much. Really appreciate this. Everybody must note this down for these keywords. So wolf war diplomacy is about China getting very aggressive these days. In the last few years, China has gone very aggressive when there is a public condemnation in the diplomatic arena. China says we have not done this. This is ours. For example, if it encroaches Arunachal, it says this is ours. This is not yours. You should not enter. Just lately, they took away one Arunachali boy away from his home. He was loitering around, and then they returned that boy back to his home. Just lately. So wolf war diplomacy around the whole world. They were not as aggressive earlier, but yes, in the current regime, they are very aggressive. Another word is checkbook diplomacy. See, they straight away are there with a checkbook. Take the loan from us. They will not start investing through their private sector participation, just like what EU wants. Just like India wants a stake to be present with other countries. China doesn't do it. China gives a loan. You're not able to pay it back. You are defaulting. All right, we will take that space for a while. No problem. So you can see the well-framed difference between what is a checkbook diplomacy, checkbook, and what is the model that EU is trying to establish. See, that is the prime difference. I hope it stays with you for long if you don't revise, but for God's sake, please revise. For God's sake, please note down the keywords. It will definitely help you, right? So thank you very much for participating. We will see you on Monday. And if you like this initiative, share some love through likes, comments, and shares. It's Friday. We will see you Monday evening. But You have to revise the content on Saturday. You have to prepare notes. If you have missed out on certain videos, you must do that, because see, this is a running series. We will not repeat these topics. It will only get repeated when there is a correlation, or if I'm able to establish some relevance to the context. But this detailed analysis, this is hot in your mind, please cover this immediately. All right. Pooja, absolutely agree with you. 99 years, Chinese checker. All right, Hima, good night to all of you. Bhavani, everybody. Ashish, welcome, good night. I will see you people on Monday. Pooja asks, sir, from where I have to send this answer? Right now, Pooja, we don't have a mechanism to share answers, right? But if you put down a comment here, I will be able to respond back. If you put a comment on the offline chats, I will definitely respond back. All right. So thank you, Ashish, Netra, Kriti. Good evening to all of you. I will see you on Monday, but please prepare notes. They are very valuable. One question to all of you. If you are in touch with me somehow, should I share some of your notes sometime so that I tell people what exactly is to be done? Some of you are doing it really well. Some of you are struggling. If I share what you're doing, this will provide a valuable insight to all your colleagues, other people, so that you know how exactly it is to be done, right? So, peace lover, thank you. Thank you. We discussed the feature in little detail. That is why you would like it more, right? So good night to all of you. See you. Questions, please post them down.